what we've learned overnight after this house exploded in Virginia.
Well, the county spent $3 million more to help migrants. That big decision happening today.
Y'all making enough money already.
The areas where parking meters could soon be added.
Horseback riding along the beach, not when there's all the sewage. How the ranch is keeping their animals healthy.
When the biggest names in show business want to light up the stage like Britney Spears and Katy Perry, they call Janet Hansen.
It's 6 a.m. on Tuesday, December 5th, and you're up with CBS 8.
And thank you so much for being here at 6 a.m. everyone on this Tuesday. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. Today, it will be the warmest day of the week, although it may not feel like it right now. Let's send it over to meteorologist Evan Nurani with a look at that forecast.
That's the caveat. When you walk outside, you're going to be thinking, I don't care what it's going to be this afternoon. It is cold out there, right? So cold will come in handy for the morning hours, and then by the afternoon, we'll start to see those temperatures really warm their way up. Widespread 70s, even some low 80s expected by the time we get to this afternoon. For now, though, we are mostly in the 40s, some 50s out there, too. There is good indication that many of our eastern valleys will make it into the low 80s by that stretch, thanks to Santa Ana winds and a ridge of high pressure overhead. Here's where we are right now, though. 44 in Escondido walking out the door, 43 in Ramona, 42 in El Cajon. Coming up, we'll talk about how long that warmth will stick around, whether or not those Santa Anas will last, and what to expect into the rest of the week. Back to you.
Brand new information after this house exploded in Arlington, Virginia overnight. Authorities now say the man inside fired several rounds from a firearm just before that blast.
Wow. Police were initially responding after the suspect reportedly fired a flare gun 30 to 40 times into that neighborhood. While on scene, authorities obtained a search warrant, but the man barricaded himself inside. They say he opened fire, and then that house exploded, that massive explosion. At least 3 officers suffered minor injuries. The fire was just declared under control finally, but officials have not determined what sparked the blast. The suspect's identity is not being released at this point, and at this point, it's also not clear if he's still alive. In 3 hours from now, here locally, County Board of Supervisors will vote on whether to allocate an additional $3 million to keep a center that provides resources to thousands of migrants seeking asylum.
Now, this shelter is run by SBCS, and CBS 8's Regina Yarita is live outside the County Administration Center now to explain what will happen if these additional funds are not approved. Regina?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, Eric, if they don't receive those additional funds, what they're going to be forced to do is shut down that facility. So SBCS warned the county that the money that was allocated back in September would run out by mid-December. It's why we're seeing that discussion back on the agenda item this morning. This is a facility that helps thousands of migrants seeking asylum and that are coming into San Diego. So Congressman Juan Vargas, he actually visited that center back in that last month in November.
If you watch, there will be no children here. There'll be very few women. Most of the $60 million is run by the other program. This is one program. There's a whole bunch of programs in the county. Catholic Charities runs the biggest one. And so most of the money goes to them because they applied for it.
So Congressman Vargas had mentioned last month that the federal government provided $60 million to provide resources for migrants. However, he said the county didn't receive any of that money because the county didn't apply for it. Chairwoman Nora Vargas, she says this was FEMA money and the $60 million was for the entire country. Since Catholic Charities was doing that work, the county thought it would be best that Catholic Charities apply directly with their support. So Vargas also adds that because of the lack of support from the federal government, the county has had to step up. 500 to 700 migrants are dropped off at that center each day. Workers at the center pick up migrants from a Border Patrol processing facility in Otay Mesa. The center also provides transportation to the airport. Migrants can get something to eat at the center, charge their phone, and then head to the airport. The organization has been helping migrants because they want to avoid seeing migrant families get dropped off at transit centers throughout this region. However, Supervisor Jim Desmond, he says he's against this for several reasons, primarily because he believes immigration is a federal issue. He took to social media to say San Diegans should not be footing the bill. He also added that nearly 50,000 migrants have entered San Diego County since September, and there are no signs of this slowing down. So back out here, that meeting is supposed to start at 9 a.m. and of course we will keep you guys updated if there is a decision made today, whether they're against providing more additional funds or if they're for it. I'll send things back to you guys.
Regina, thank you very much for the latest there. Of course, it's something we're following closely. Now, today, the San Diego County Board of Supervisors voting on whether or not to delay the implementation of a law to expand conservatorship to next year. To qualify for a conservatorship before this change, you had to be considered gravely disabled. And now State Bill 43 broadens that definition to include people who suffer from mental illness or substance abuse, or those who are at great risk of serious harm to their personal safety. It allows the court to remove people from the streets to get any help. Chairwoman Nora Vargas recommends the delay to help establish a process and get additional money to implement the law. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria is urging the county to start implementing the law by next month.
All those county board decisions will be made with its newest member today. District 4 Supervisor-elect Monica Montgomery Stepp will be sworn into her new role. Stepp is filling the seat left vacant after Nathan Fletcher resigned. She will be in the position for the remainder of the current term, which is until 2027. Meantime, the San Diego City Council voted 5-4 to re-elect Sean Elo Rivera to a third term as council president, with the 4 council members who voted no sharing harsh criticism about him publicly. Right now, the council has just 8 members after Montgomery Stepp left for the county. So that could lead to some deadlocked 4-4 votes for a few months. One of those first votes is actually happening today. The council will decide whether to declare a behavioral health bed crisis. According to the city, about a quarter of 911 calls are related to psychiatric, behavioral, and substance use disorders. But since 2017, we have lost nearly 3,000 beds. Declaring a crisis would allow the city to get more funding.
Also today, San Diego City Council set to vote on a proposal to add parking meters to both Kearny Mesa and San Ysidro business areas. These are busy spots. It's an issue with mixed opinions from business owners, people who live and work around there. CBS 8's Chris Groh live along Convoy Street now in Kearny Mesa to let us know about the reaction to this one. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. We know how busy San Ysidro is between border crossings, the actual businesses that are there, the community that's there. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of vehicles, and the parking spaces can sometimes be limited. So by declaring this a parking district, the city council thinks they can have the solutions present to try to make things a little bit easier. However, reaction so far to the proposal has been mixed.
They ignore the signs.
Exactly. They do.
So you don't mind paying for parking?
No, I don't mind. I don't think that you should. Y'all making enough money already.
Yeah, and as you just heard there, a lot of people will ignore those signs and leave their cars there for days, which means that those parking spots go used for days. And so what this would do is that if this city council does go ahead and approve making San Ysidro a parking district, it gives them the power to implement changes to address parking issues like adding parking meters. So the idea there is that people, when they use the meter, if it's expired, they would be able to remove those vehicles. But it's not just parking meters. There's still other types of things that they can use by declaring this a parking district to try to alleviate some of this traffic. And the intent is to install those parking meters in commercial areas and still have the freedom to use those funds that they generate with those meters in all of San Ysidro. Now, again, we still have to see how things shake up today, but they do believe, those in favor of this, that a designated parking district will draw more parking enforcement and therefore open up some of those parking spots.
What it means is that we're able to use funds from the parking meters in that entire area, which is why we made it so large.
And that's Jason Wells with the San Ysidro Improvement District. Now, of course, we're here on Convoy, and Convoy also going to be considered up for whether or not it should be a parking district. Again, similar scenario, but we'll break that down a little bit more in just about 30 minutes. Eric and Netta.
Oh yeah, at nighttime it gets so busy because I mean they're great restaurants here
Absolutely.
in Convoy,
and
all the smells
Korean barbecue
that permeate this area.
so
It's
good.
amazing, the food that we have.
We know why it's popular.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do
us
we
working
handle
here.
it? Right.
The curse of us working here, though, is that at 9 a.m. none of them are open on our break.
They're prepping though.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And I'm always like,
the ramen is being made.
I could really
Yeah.
go for exactly any of these meals, and none of these places are open. But at nighttime, boy, they get busy. So
Yeah. Korean barbecue. I mean, you name it.
So good.
So good.
I know. Now my mouth is watering.
Look at that.
It's 6:10
Sunrise
in the morning,
just about
right?
here, huh?
Yeah, what a sunrise. We still have another about 20 minutes before we'll actually start to see the sun, but this is that twilight phase ahead of it. Notice it is a cloudless start to the day. That's because those winds are offshore. Santa Anas have developed, and that's going to lead us to a warm afternoon because of those offshore winds. Also a very dry afternoon. So those are usually the two main factors that drive those Santa Anas. Dry conditions out there, and then of course warm temperatures. You wouldn't know it though looking at your current temperatures out the door. It is mainly 40s and 50s that we have to start off the day. Pretty similar to where we were at this time yesterday. 44 right now in Escondido, 53 in Julian, and 64 in Alpine. By the time we get to the afternoon, our coastline is going to be in the mid to upper 70s. We've got a lot of sunshine that we'll be working with. Few clouds, mainly just scarce cloud cover that we're working with throughout this hour, but otherwise it's a lot of sunshine that we'll have into the remainder of the day. Today is the standout warm day of the week because take a look at where the next several days go. We'll start to see those Santa Anas weaken tonight. As those Santa Ana winds weaken, a ridge of high pressure moves off to the east, and a trough of low pressure that's really going to bring a lot of wet weather to the Pacific Northwest will bring us only cooler temperatures and cloud cover. So we'll watch as between now and Thursday, we get to our coolest point, about 15 degrees cooler than this afternoon on Thursday. And then we'll see those temperatures steadily warm back up with another ridge of high pressure building into the upcoming weekend. So we'll drop down to the mid 60s and then climb once again to the 70s. So far though, satellite radar has shown that we are mainly clear, mainly dry out there. Let's take a look at traffic, see how your roads are. It's 6:11 on the clock, just about to hit 6:12. We do want to take you to two different crashes that have already popped up this morning. This is off toward Hamul and to the east of Hamul. First one that we want to mention is a crash on the 94 Campo Road eastbound from Campbell Ranch Road to Marin Valley Road. While fire crews were on the way to that, they noticed this crash on the 94 Campo Road at Peaceful Valley Ranch Road. That was a car that had crashed into a fence. Other crash that is on Campo Road eastbound is the crash that involved two vehicles, one of them being overturned. So they are starting to cause some minor backups in the Hamul area. You might want to just plan accordingly. There are not any major backups as volume is still very light this morning. Let's check in on border wait times, see how it is across the border. San Ysidro Port of Entry is going to take you about 150 minutes. That is 2.5 hours this morning. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, it's going to be a little bit quicker. An hour and a half is what you're looking at mostly. Back to you.
Here at Surfside Ranch, people can ride horses along the trails and the beach. How the constant sewage flows, though, are impacting business and how they're keeping their animals safe.